But now, once you're in your Gmail account, you come over here and you pick on the dots here, which is really the Google Apps. We're going to click there. See, now there's many other things that you can do within Google. All of these are free services. So just to show you an idea, I'll pick on the word more there. And there's many, many more. I mean, you really should explore what's out there. Even if I pick on more and scroll down, there's even more beyond that. So you should really explore all the free apps that you get with your Gmail account. So again, once you're in Gmail, you pick on the dots over here. It says Google Apps. Now, really, the way to get into your Google Docs is you go into the word Drive right there. So when you have your free account, you'll get so much space on Google Drive. Good. So now over here, now there is a paid version of this, and with the paid version, you'll have a lot more storage space and things like that. But let's assume we're going to go with the free version. Once you're in Google Drive, then you pick on the plus sign, and that's how we can get to a new file. All right? So at this point, I can update a file from your computer or a whole folder. Google Docs is the word processing program, similar to your Microsoft Word. Google Sheets is the spreadsheet program, similar to Microsoft Excel. Google Slides is where we can make presentations and slides, and that would be similar to PowerPoint. And if I pick on more, there's even more beyond that. So a Google Form can be where we can have a data entry screen, and that could hook up to either an Excel, a Google Sheet spreadsheet, or other types of databases as well. There's drawings that we can make, maps, sites. So, today we're going to concentrate on the Google Docs, the Google Sheets, and the Google Slides. So, you saw me log on to my Gmail account, and then you pick on the apps over here, and then you pick on Google Drive. So now let's go into and make a new document. So I'll pick on plus, and I'll pick on Google Docs. And now you're on to a new document, as you can see. Now, this is going to be pretty similar to Microsoft Word. However, if you notice, it has kind of the old style menus. A long time ago in Microsoft Word, you would have these kind of menus. So if we pick on a file, of course, you have your similar features that you have under the file menu. So I can make a new document, open up an existing one. We can copy it. Now, where it says download as, that's the same as save as, and you would save it onto your computer. Here, we can actually take it from the Google Docs and save it as a Word document, or RTF is a common format. We could save it as a PDF, plain text, a web page, and so on. And then, obviously, there's other things we could do under the file menu as well. If I pick on edit, then we have our classic cut and paste and copy and paste and undo and redo, find and replace. And then notice how if it does have a keyboard shortcut, it will be listed over there. So the view menu, there's different views we can use. Also, I can show the ruler and different things over there. The insert menu is where I can insert images, tables, drawings, charts. All right. So I kind of really equate this to the older style of Microsoft Word, where we would have these kind of menus. And the menus are pretty similar. So then, of course, we have the format menu, formatting text or paragraphs. We look at the tools. The tools is where we have our spell checker. And obviously there's different things in there. So, I mean, it's going to work like many other word processors. So I'll type in, this is my first document. Give me a second with the keyboard here. Nothing like live, right? So I'll type in, this is the first document. Now, what's going to be interesting here is if you notice, we don't see a save icon. And in fact, under File, there's not even a save. It actually saves for you automatically. And notice what it says over here. It says all changes saved. So I don't know if it's every few seconds or whatever it is. Let's see what that says. Every change you make is automatically saved in Google Drive. So last edit was a few seconds ago. So saving is not going to be a problem for you. Now, of course, you can highlight the text. And many of your popular icons are right here under the toolbar. So, of course, we have our formatting, bold, italic, and everything that you're familiar with. There's the font size, Arial. So there's the different fonts, of course. Now, if you pick on the Format menu, obviously, we'll have more choices. So I'm going to highlight that text, and we'll pick on Format, and then Text, and then you see similar types of things now. Here's the font size, and so on, right? So many of your popular icons are here on the toolbar. And then, obviously, we can use our menus as well. So let's go through some of the icons. And the other Google Docs programs will be similar as well. So we'll have undo. Notice how it'll tell you what the icon does, and if there's a keyboard shortcut for it, it would show that as well. So I'll pick on undo. There's redo. Print, of course. There's your spell checker. There's the paint formatter. Let's see what that does. So let's say I'll type in the next sentence. I'm just making up things on the fly here as far as what I'm typing in. All right, so I'm going to highlight this information, and maybe I'll make that bold, and I'll make it 12 in font size. Well, if I want to copy the format from that text to other text, you highlight the text whose format you want to copy, and then you pick on the paint format, and then you highlight other text where you want to copy it to, and notice how that has the same format. That's an excellent time saver. So let's undo that. I'm going to highlight the text whose format that you want to copy, and then you pick on the paint format icon, and then you highlight the text you want to copy it to, and then that text has the same format. So notice over here, well, we can, these are specific styles. This is like a zoom, right? So we can, let's see what 50% looks like. So there's your zoom right here. Then we have the text styles, your font size, bold, italic, underline, we know. Now this one is the text color. So we're going to highlight the text, pick on the text color, and then you have many colors to choose from. So in this case, we have the highlighter. So I'm going to highlight the text and then pick on the highlighter. And then you pick like maybe a bright color. That would be like a highlight pencil, as you can see. In this case, we can add a link into our document. So if I say, I'm going to type in www.auroratraining.com. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that text. And I'm just going to copy just in case. So at this point, we'll pick on the link right there. And then that'll make that an active link, as you can see. So now if I move my mouse there, then I clicked on the text, and then the link will come up. And then it's going to go to the website, as you can see. There it is. Right? Looking good. So I like that, being able to add a link. So this would be a picture. So I'll pick on insert an image. And then you can either get it from your computer or from the internet, and then from the Google Drive itself, or even from your camera. So in this case, I'll say upload from a computer. And then we'll point to perhaps the desktop folder or some of the different folders that I have. And we'll get the a logo. And that brought that right into the document, as you can see. All right. So it's pretty flexible. It's pretty similar to other word processing programs that you've seen. I like it because they've made it a lot better over the years. Some of these functions, especially under the insert menu and format and tools, They weren't there before. So now they've really upped their game and made Google Docs a lot better. Let's pick a numbered list. So I'm going to come over here, and if you notice the icons, well, then we have our text alignment. This is going to be for the line spacing in a paragraph. And then here's our number list and our bullet list. So I'll start with the 1, 2, 3 right there. Now, in this case, I'm still in the highlight format. So I'm actually going to click on the highlight and turn that off. Good. So you can see how I'm on number 1 there. So in this case, I'll type in some of the states around. So we'll do Florida, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and so on. So you can see it's automatically building a number list. Now, if I want to add something as an indent, I'm going to click into Pennsylvania there. I'll hit the Enter key. Now I'll just hit the Tab key, and now it went to the next level of the number list, as you can see. Or these icons also work. That'll increase the indent, or this one will decrease the indent. So those are ways, like I'll type in Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, and so on. Good. Now, if I want to go to the previous level, then I'll click on this icon, as you can see, right? And then we'll type in New York and so on. So let's see how a bullet list would also work. So you click on this icon to start the bullet list, and it would be the same kind of thing. So then I'll type in some more of the states. California, Oregon, Washington. It will have the spell checker. Let's see if I spelled it incorrectly, if it catches that. That one it didn't catch. I'm surprised about that. So let's see if we do the spell checker for the entire document. So in this case, I'll pick on the Tools menu, and we'll do Spelling and Grammar. And we'll do the Spelling and Grammar check. So it says it looks good. So maybe that's a real word somewhere. I'm not really sure. But, I'll type in Washington there. Let's type in a word that I know is going to be misspelled. I type in T-E-A-B-E-L. And let's see if it finds that with the spell checker. So once again, I'll pick on Tools, Spelling, and Grammar. And, okay, so I guess that's a real word. I'm not sure. But anyway, you can see how the spell checker would work. You can see we're in a bullet list. So I'll type in Kansas, so on. So if you want to change your bullets, I'm going to highlight those bullets, and then you click on the pull down for the bullet list, and then you see some other options, okay? So you have a lot of the familiar functionality, but this is the full word processor within Google Docs. So notice what it says, all changes saved in the Google Drive. So usually you don't have to worry about saving it. So here we have the different icons of our toolbar, of course. And then we have our menus. So now another thing that's great about this is we can save this to a Word document. So I can say File, and then this is where you go in as download it into Word or a rich text formats file or a PDF. So it's pretty compatible with other file formats. Now, a lot of people will say, well, can we take an existing Word document and bring that into Google Docs? And the answer is yes. So I'll pick on File, Open, and then we can say, what's already on my drive. The Google Drive is what they're talking about there. What's been shared with me. Here, if I want to get it from my computer, I'll pick on Upload. And then it says select a file, or you can drag a file into there. So I'm going to select a file. And now, you would pick maybe a Word document. So I'm looking through, and I bet in the Documents folder I have some Word documents. I'm going to sort this by the file type. There's Excel, PowerPoint, and then there's a Word document. And that'll be fine. So I'll pick on Grade Lookup. Pick on, how about the sample document is probably going to be bigger. Now that's uploading that. And then Google Docs will be able to open that up. Okay? So yes, you can work with your existing Word documents. That should not be a problem. The reason that people are starting to migrate to Google Docs is because it's a lot cheaper. I mean, here, if you just get a Gmail account, basically you use the free edition. There is a paid edition, which gives you more storage space and different things, but you can get to the Google Docs for free. So that's a big benefit. Now, let's talk about, I like to make that spaced, I like to make that paragraph spaced. There's the example of the spell checker right there. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this paragraph, and then I'll pick in the format menu, and then we can do, we can change the paragraph styles, or in this case, I want to go to line spacing. So let's make it double spaced, and you can see how the text is double spaced. So once you're done with double space, let's go back to single space. So I'll pick on the document, and I'll pick on file, and then line spacing, and then single. So, I mean, those were the kind of menus that I remember a long time ago from Word. But now here they are in Google Docs. Okay? Of course, we have the help there. And it's widely supported. As you can imagine, it is a Google product. So it's very widely supported. A lot of help out there. Let's close this one, and then we'll go back into Google Drive and start looking at the spreadsheet application. So when you close this window, and you can see it did save. When you close the window, it'll save as well. So here's the other one that we made. And each one makes a different tab up there in the on your Google browser or on any browser. It does work best with Google Chrome. My preferred browser is Google Chrome. However, of course, you can get to Google Docs on Microsoft Edge and the other Internet Explorer and the other website explorers, the browsers. However, I think it works best under Google Chrome, of course, but you don't have to use Google Chrome. All right, so now we're back into my Drive. So then we'll start to see the documents that I've made in my Google Drive. Now, in Google Drive, you can make new folders, for example. So you can organize your documents with new folders, so you can organize them any way you want it to. Now, in this case, let's make another new document. We'll see what the spreadsheet looks like. I'll pick on New, and I'll do the Google Sheets, which is going to be similar to Microsoft Excel. So if you've been using Excel, you'll see some familiar concepts here. Notice how it has the same kind of menus that I just showed you with the Google Docs. And when you go through the menus, you'll see, okay, under the Edit menu, we can do delete rows, delete columns. Under the View menu, let's do that freeze. The freeze is a really popular one. So over here, I'll type in first name, last name, city, state. I'm just typing those in and then hitting the Enter key or hit the Tab key to go to the next cell. And then we'll have zip code. All right. So now you can see how it says 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way down. Well, I'm going to scroll down. Now, see how the first row disappeared, right? Well, I want to keep that first row on the screen at all times. So I'm going to click on row 2. You click below the row that you want to have on the screen at all times. Then we'll pick on the View menu, and we'll pick on Freeze. And I'll say freeze one row in this case. And then now, notice how it drew that line there between row 1 and row 2. Now if I scroll down, row 1 still stays on the screen. So that's really great for your larger spreadsheets. You're going to freeze it. Now, of course, when I'm done with that, I can turn that off. But if I save the document, or when it did save the document, that's going to be a permanent part of the document until I turn that off. So I'll click on View and then Freeze, and I can say No Rows, and then basically it turns that off. What you're going to find is the math is going to work in a similar way as it does in Excel. So I'll come over here and I'll type in 100, 200, 300, and so on. So if we want to add those up, just like Excel, we can use the auto sum. So here's the auto sum over here. And we'll do a sum there. And in this case, it says equals sum, and then I'm just going to highlight the cells I want to sum up. Now that could be a big, huge column, and that would still work. So that's going to be similar to the way it works in Excel. The auto sum is very popular. Here, I want to do some math. Formulas always start with an equal sign. So I'll type in equals, and I'll type in 5 times this cell. So you can make that a very complicated formula, but it's going to work similar to it does in Excel. You're going to start the formula with an equal sign. And then I should be able to copy that down. So I'll get the black cross in the corner and drag that down. And you can see it. This one, it says equals 5 times F1. And then it kind of knew that you would want to change that to F2 and then F3. So it did that for us automatically. So let's continue to go through the menus here in the spreadsheet-like program that's called Google Sheets. So, of course, File, Open, Import, the kind of things you would expect under File are going to be there. Now, instead of Save As, they say Download As. So I can download it to an Excel spreadsheet format. Open Document is another, it's called Open Office. It's another way to get to a spreadsheet and a word processor. So you can actually convert it to that format, a PDF, a web page. A really popular format is a CSV. That's like a text file that's comma delimited. And then that would work with just about any other database. So Excel, this Google Sheets is pretty compatible with most programs. So I'll pick on Edit, of course, copy and paste and cut and paste. And then we have the delete rows and delete columns. The view menu, I just showed you that freeze. It's a really popular feature. So here I can look at my grid lines or sometimes some people like to turn the grid lines off. And I just turn the grid lines off. Personally, I don't prefer it that way. I'm going to turn them back on again. So I'll click on view and then grid lines and turn it back on. Let's see what else is under the view menu. So the formula bar, I always like to see that. The formula bar is this right over here. That's when we click on a cell, we'll see the formula on the formula bar. I like to see that. But if you want to turn it off, you can turn it off right there. Now, the FX will be built-in formulas. So if I type in an equal sign to start the formula, I can click on the FX, and then sometimes that'll show you the built-in type of formulas. So let's see where we have some more things here. So I showed you the view menu. It's also where we could do zoom. The insert menu. Here I can insert a row or insert columns. This is where we can insert a chart, a picture, a drawing, a form, right? So those are other Google tools. Here's the functions right here. Now, it's not going to have as many functions as Excel, but all of the popular ones are going to be in there, all right? And they're going to work in a similar way. So if you go through this list, if you're familiar with Excel, you probably recognize some of those. It has quite a few now. They really have upped their game. There's quite a few. There's HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP is in there. The famous if is in there, right? So many of the ones that you look for will be in here. Now I even see some that Excel doesn't even support, so they really have upped their game and added a lot more functions than was there even a few years ago. I like that. So for example, let's try a formula. So I'm going to say insert a function, and we'll use one that's called if. This is a really famous one. So I'll pick on all, and then we'll scroll down. And we'll pick on if, although it's probably under the logical category. And if you're familiar with the Excel functions, it'll be similar in the way it works here. In fact, the spreadsheets are compatible with Excel spreadsheets. So of course, the formulas will be compatible as well. So I'll say if this number is less than or equal to 1,000, then I'm going to type in a comma. See how it's giving you the syntax over here. So I'll type in a comma, and I'll say below. I'm going to put the word below in quotes because it's a piece of text, comma, and then I'll say above in quotes as well. So for the if, I have the condition part, the true part, and the false part. I'm going to hit the enter key. And now that one is less than 1,000, so it says below there. But then I'm going to copy that down by getting the black cross and dragging it down. And now you can see how this one says above. So we have, the if is going to be in there. So to get to your formulas, once again, I picked on insert and then functions as your built-in formulas. And now they have a lot more. I'm glad they really added a lot more there. Let's see what else is under the insert menu. So we have our drawings, functions. There's the hyperlink like I showed you before. All right. And here's how we can add a new sheet and so on. Let's pick on the format menu. Classic formatting. We can format our numbers. So let's go ahead and highlight those numbers. Now there's some formatting here on the toolbar, as you can see. I can always use those, but let's pick on format, number, and then I'll go with currency format. Good. All right, no problem with that. You see a lot of your formatting here on the toolbar. Let's see what else is under format that might be interesting for you. We have the align and the text wrapping. Oh, there's conditional formatting. So we're going to say if these numbers, if the numbers are less than 1,000, we'll make them green. We'll make them red, and over 1,000, we'll make red. So green. So I'm going to highlight column G. I'll pick on the format menu, and we'll do conditional formatting. So you might be familiar with this concept in Excel. So I'll do apply to that range, format if it's less than or greater than or those kind of things, right? So we're going to say if it's less than 1,000, then I like to make those red. All right, so we'll pick on done there. And you can see how if it's less than 500, it's going to be red. Let's try that again. We'll say if it's greater than or equal to 1,000, we'll make those green. So I'm going to add another conditional formatting. Notice when I clicked on that column, I can change that conditional format right there, or I can add another one. So the concepts are familiar if you're familiar with Excel, but just the way you do things in the menus are going to be a little bit different. But if you just search around, it's not bad. It's pretty similar. So we're going to say greater than, or how about greater than or equal to 1,000. Then we're going to make that, we'll make that a nice green. Good. How about for the background, we'll make that white. Good. So, and you can see the ones that are less than 1,000 are 500, are red, and the ones that are more than 1,000 are green. So that was under the format menu. We find conditional formatting. The data menu is where we can sort, filter, right? So under the Excel data menu, that's also where we can sort and filter. Very good. Now look, for a long time, the Google Sheets didn't have a pivot table, and now it does. So like I said, they really have upped their game. So we could do a pivot table there. We can remove duplicates. All right, so they really have upped their game. The data menu now has the sort and filter, and very important, the pivot table. Data validation means you want them to type in a certain type of data. So let's try something like that. In column I want numbers between 100 and 1,000. So I'm going to highlight those cells, and then I'll pick on the data menu, and we'll say data validation. And then we get another type of window. So I'm going to say the criteria has to be a number. And in this case, I want that to be between, I'll say between 1 and 1,000. And then I'm actually going to reject the input if it doesn't meet the qualifications. So, and we can show the validation help text to say, and it actually pre-populated that for me, which is great. Otherwise, you can change that message. So I'm going to click on Save. Let's see if it worked. So I'm going to close this conditional formatting window at this time. and I'm going to click on that cell. So then I'll type in 100, and that should not be a problem. Let's type in 2000, and look what it says. It rejects that number, enter a number between 1 and 1000. That was the message, and now it goes right back into there. It really rejected that. When I went to the cell, then the message did come up. So then I'll type in 200, and then it accepts it. So under the data menu, we have under the data menu, we have the pivot tables, data validation. Let's see what's under tools. A form is like a data entry screen. All right, so that would be a nice data entry screen for your Excel spreadsheet. And now here's a feature that was not available up to a few years ago. Now you can do macros in Google Sheets, and the macros are going to help you automate different things. So like I said, the reason that it's becoming more popular, first of all, it's less expensive than Microsoft Office and Office 365, but it's really starting to have the great features that we're looking for in a spreadsheet. So this is a fully functional spreadsheet, and you can make this as complicated as you need to be. And maybe it doesn't do every single thing that Excel does, but it's really catching up. In this case, I can add a new sheet, of course. We can see all of the sheets. And then here, I can copy a sheet or rename a sheet and so on. Now, on also the Google Docs, there is this icon up here. So if I share that, that means I can invite other people to either look at or view that document. So I'll give it a name. I'll call this one my spreadsheet. I'll pick on Save. Then you can enter the names of the email addresses of who you want to share it to. All right, so I'll type in my email address, for example. And then that person would get an email inviting them to that document. So it makes it really easy to share your documents. As you can see, they're up there. It's going to have the word share. Oh, so I can add comments into this document as well. Right? No problem. So let's see if there's something I can show you really quick. It does have protection here. If I pick on Tools, then Protect Sheet, then I can make it ask for a password and so on. Okay? All right. So now let's go back to our PowerPoint. The PowerPoint equivalent in Google Docs is going to be called Google Slides. So let's take a look at that. So we'll go back to Google Chrome. Now I could just go back to Google Drive right here and have that window still open. Notice how the different documents are going to show up as a different tab in your browser. But I'm going to close this one. If it hasn't saved it yet, it'll save it when we close it. So you don't have to worry about saving. It's going to do that for you automatically, which is very helpful. In this case, we'll make another new document. And I'll go with Google Slides. That's going to be the equivalent of PowerPoint. Okay, good. So if you've ever used PowerPoint, each picture that we see is called a slide, and a bunch of slides together is called a presentation. Well, that's true here as well. Notice that you start to get used to the menus. So in this case, it's going to be pretty apparent. I'm going to say of course my typing. Now see, there the spell checker did work. So let's see if I can right click on that word, and then here the spell checking did work for that word. So that was excellent. And then I'll say so in this case, obviously we want to have more slides. So if you look at the different menus here, pretty similar to what we talked about. So under File, that's another way to do a share. We can import slides from PowerPoint especially, or from another Google Slides presentation. We can download it as PowerPoint. When we're in Google Sheets, we could have downloaded that as an Excel spreadsheet. So they're very compatible with the Microsoft equivalents of those programs, and even they're equivalent with the other Office program as well. Right? So if we click on Edit, of course, cut and paste, copy and paste. We can delete a slide. We can duplicate a slide under the Edit menu. There's Find and Replace. We have View, of course. Now, View is where we can get into our animations, which we'll get to pretty soon. Now, there is a slide master here. So that means if you change something on the slide master, it'll really change all of the slides. So if you want something on all of your slides, maybe you go to your slide master, which is right over here. Under the Insert menu, we have images, videos, shapes. So, a lot of these things were not available a few years ago under Google Slides, but now they've really upped their game. So you can add all kinds of different things to those slides, of course. Here is one place we could do the new slide under the Insert menu, right there. So your presentation, of course, will have many different slides. Usually, usually has more than one. So if I pick on the Format menu, of course, that would be about the text. Within the Slide menu, we can add a new slide, duplicate the slide, delete it. So we can skip it. That means when the presentation plays, it's not going to run that one. So deleting, we'll delete it on a permanent basis. Whereas skip it means we're going to keep it in the presentation. It's just not going to show when you run the slideshow. All right. We can sort the slides. This is also where we can align text and things like that. And then we have different tools there as well. So then obviously you have some great icons that are going to help you. So here is another place to add a new slide right there. Of course, we have undo and redo, print. There's your Format Painter like I showed you before. In this case, we can zoom. These are different things we can add to the slides. Here's where we can change the background of the slide. All right, so the background could be a color, or it could be a picture. Let's try a color. How about like a neutral blue? Good. And you can see the slide has that color. All right. So in this case, I'll say slide 2. And so on, right? And then we just keep on adding a new slide. Now, if I like that slide, a lot of times I'll copy a slide so that it will, I just have to change a part of that. So in this case, I can right-click on that slide and pick on Duplicate Slide. So the right-click menu, of course, works here as well. And then that would be an exact copy of that slide. So there we have slide 3. And we'll just change the text and so on. And maybe this one I'll make with the red format. So I'll click on background and make it more of a, how about of a neutral red? Good. All right. So the layout could be the slide layout. Now this doesn't change. Just because you added a layout doesn't change what you can add to the slide. It just gives you an idea of what the slide's going to look like. So if I change it to these different layouts, then you can see it doesn't change what I can add to the slide. It just kind of gives me, a different way to look at that slide. It's called the layout. In this case, there's also themes. So if we pick the theme, then the whole presentation would have the same theme. And very quickly, you can get a really nice professional look. So I like this one. I'm going to click here. And then notice how the presentation, all the slides took on that theme. Now this one, I added a background color, and I added a background color to this one. But you can see it kind of took on that green theme. So let's go back to the background here. And I'll say maybe no background, or just a white one. Or we'll reset it to the theme. Good. So the theme did copy to all of the slides. Let's click on this one, and I'll say background, and I'll say reset it to the theme. Good. All right, so I like those themes. The way we got there, we picked on the theme icon over here, and then you see there's many that are built in. then you can also import some as well. So pretty quickly, you can make a decent presentation here, as we can see. So let's continue. If I pick on the slide menu, this is where we can add a slide or delete a slide. All right, we can apply the layout there as well. Now, under the slide menu, we have a transition. The transition is how does it move to the next slide. All right, so if you wanted to have some kind of special effect between slides, it's called change the transition. When you're ready to run this presentation, you can pick in the word present right there. And then it'll actually start to run. So usually I would have this connected to a projector. And now you can see I'm going to the next slide and the next slide and so on. I'm just using the up and down arrows on my keyboard. Or I can go to the next slide over here as well. Either way is fine. All right, so now when you run this, I'm actually the presenter of this, of course. The user, the audience would just see what's back here. This is your controls. The audience would not see this information over here. All right, so imagine that's how you would actually project it, and your computer would be connected to a projector or another monitor. So it's pretty similar to what you would see in PowerPoint. Now, for a long time, the Google Slides didn't have the animation, but they have changed that. Now, let me show you a nice feature here. So I just moved that. Of course, you can move things around. Here's where we'll use the Arrange menu. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key to pick on this one. And now this one is also selected. So you can hold down your Shift key to do a multiple selection. And then I'll pick on the Arrange menu. And then I'll say Align, and I'll say Align Left. And notice how they did become aligned, right? So I'm going to undo that. Let's try that again. Let's even add a third piece of text here. So just like in PowerPoint, a piece of text will be called a text box. So I like to align all three of those. I'm going to click on this one. We'll hold down the Shift key and pick on this one. And we'll hold down the Shift key and pick on this one. I can really pick as many as I wanted to. Then at this time, I pick on Arrange, and then Align the left margins. And you can try these other ones as well. And then see how they're all aligned. Now also, I want to make them evenly spaced. So I'll pick on Arrange, and then we can say Distribute vertically. And that's going to make them evenly spaced when they're on top of each other like that. And now you can see it made them evenly spaced. So I like that Arrange menu a lot. It helps you line things up. And that one was called Distribute, and so on. Now here's one that PowerPoint doesn't do very well. I want to click on that object and really put it onto the center of the screen. Let's say I'm going to move that over here. So I'll pick on Arrange and then Center on the page horizontally. So it actually moved that so it is centered. Then I would center the text as well. All right, so I'll pick on Format, and then I'll say Align, and then Center. So PowerPoint, I don't remember seeing something like that on PowerPoint where the object can be centered. Let's try that again. So I'm going to center the text here, Format, Align, and Center. But I can tell that in general that's not centered on the page. So then I'll pick on Arrange and then Center on page horizontally, and now it is centered on the slide. So that's a pretty good feature right there. Now, what I was trying to say, let's go to a different slide, and I'm going to add a picture. So I'll say Insert Image, and I can get it from my computer, or I can get one from the Google Drive. So the Google Drive is where you store all your different documents, and of course we can use the things that are in there. Let's go back to Update from the computer, and we'll go back to that picture file, and I'll get the logo. Good. So now for a long time, we didn't have the animation here in Google Slides. But now we're going to have the animation. So if we pick on, if we go through the menus, we see the slide menu, of course, Insert. And then under insert, we have animation. So that means we can make it fly into the slide and do different things. Let's take a look at that. This is a feature that people always ask me for. So I'm going to pick on, you can animate anything. I can animate the text or the picture or anything else that you can click on. So I'll pick on insert and then animation. Then we get this window over here. So now in this case, it's talking about the transition. So actually, let me open up the animation screen. I'll pick on view and then animations. All right. So we're going to go ahead and close some of these windows here. So I'll say I'm going to click on the picture and I'll say insert animation. Good. So in this case, I want that to do different things. So here is the transition, means going from one slide to the next. So I'm going to select an object to animate, which is here. All right, so I'm going to click on the picture. I'm going to select an object to animate. And then at this point, maybe I want that to show up in a different way. So I'm going to make it appear, disappear, fade in. So let's make that, how about if we fly in from the top? Good. And then I can make it automatic, or I can make it when I click on the mouse. Let's make it automatically after so many seconds. So I'm going to say after previous, and we can make it slower, medium, and so on. So let's see what this really looks like when I run my slideshow. In this case, when you pick on the icon for the present, I can present it from the beginning or from the current slide. Let's do it from the beginning. So I'll go to the next slide, next slide, next slide, and then here comes the picture. Okay? So notice how I had to click on that for that to appear, and that's what we call an animation. So let's try that again. You're going to click on the picture, you pick on the insert menu, and then we pick on animation. And you get this menu over here. So in this case, we can, you have different animations there. You have a good selection. And then you can make it be either automatic, or you can make it be after the previous, which means it will happen automatically. So I wanted to make sure you saw how to do the animations. Now the transitions means going from one slide to the next. So if I click on this slide, let's say I want something to happen there. So we're going to add an animation to the slide this time, and we'll make it do like, how about if we say slide from the right? And I'm going to say apply to all the slides. When I run my show, I'll pick on present. And now if I go to the next slide, you see how it kind of slid. It had just a little bit of that effect there, as you can see. So I like the animations and I like the transitions because it adds some life into your presentation, as you can see. So as you go through your different menus, you can build outstanding presentations here. And then these, of course, can be shared like I showed you before. In this case, I can pick on File and download it as a PowerPoint. Now, the question that you might have, can this open up a PowerPoint presentation? And the answer is yes. So I'll pick on File, and then we'll pick on Open. Then, like we did before, I'll pick on Upload, and then we'll select a file from our computer. And then I should have a PowerPoint maybe on the desktop. How about on the Documents folder? I better have some PowerPoints in there. There's a PowerPoint. And what if we used, how about this one? And then it goes right to that. It imported that slide. Now, later on today, for Aurora, I'll be doing one on SharePoint at 2 o'clock. That's going to be SharePoint Beyond the Basics. But I made this originally in PowerPoint, and I was able to bring that right into Google Sheets. So if you have existing Word documents, or if you have existing Excel spreadsheets or PowerPoint presentations, you'll be able to pull those into Google Docs, of course. Let's go back to Google Drive. Now, even here on Google Drive, you'll see your different documents. So I can, at that point, right-click on that document. I can open it, with Google Sheets or the different programs. We can share it here. We can move it to a different folder. So this is kind of getting around Google Drive. It all starts with your email. From your email, you're going to pick on the Google apps over here, and then we get into Google Drive. From here, I can make new documents, of course. If we scroll down, you'll see your list of documents that you've made. Now here, I can sort these by the date, okay, or sort these by the owner and so on. You can also make folders here. So if I want to make a folder, I'll do pick on my drive and I'll say new folder, and I'll call it Tom's Files. And then you see how it just made a new folder. And then of course the documents can be, so if I double click on Tom's Files, then if I make a new document there, it'll go right into that folder. I can also drag files up from my computer into there as well. Now I use this quite a bit, so you can see how I'm running out of space over there. I can move things to the trash. So this is Google Drive. Google Drive is where your documents will be stored, especially when you make the Google Docs and the Google Sheets like I showed you today, and the Google Slides. I can also up things in there and share them. So if I want to share a document, you're just going to right click on it, and then I can share it from here and give other people access to that, as you can see. It could be an email address, and then you can give them whether they can edit that document or just comment on that or view. So they make the sharing very easy. When you get your Gmail account for free, they give you 15 gigabytes of storage, which is pretty good. I mean, that's a lot, you can store a lot of files there. Now, for me, I upload videos and these kind of things. That's why I'm running out of space. I'll have to go through that. But they give you 15 gigabytes, which is not bad at all. So then I also, one thing I want to show you is, if we go back to the original PowerPoint presentation, I want to show you how you can get to these mobile apps for all of these programs. So you can get to Google Drive and all of the others through your mobile device. Here's what you would do. So of course you would be on your mobile device, right? And then we'll go up to, now I use the Google Play Store, but it would also be available in the Apple Store as well. So I'll type in Google Play and go to the Google Play Store. So, of course, you would get that through your device, right? Or, of course, the Apple Store would work. And in this case, I'll type in Google Drive. Or you can also get the individual ones as well. And then you would download and install that application onto your device. I can also do, let's say you just wanted to get to the Google Sheets. Well, each one has their own individual app. If you get to Google Drive, basically it'll be the door to get to all of them. But also I can get to those individually as well. So let's check this out. I'm on my computer here in my office, but I have Google Drive in my phone, and then it would ask you for your email address. And then right from your phone, you get to the same Google Drive that you get to from your computer. So, then you can share your I can get to my files anywhere. I can get to all my files right from my phone because I installed the Google Drive application on my phone like I'm showing you. And then that would be the key to get to my Google Drive that I get to from my computer as well. So it's a tremendous system for sharing the documents as well.